Kool-Aid. This is a comedy podcast dedicated to the mysterious. My name is Cassidy.
That makes me Amanda.
And we're here to give you one heck of a time.
That's right, baby.
Like we do every week.
Every single week, we bring you I can't say it's the best time every single time. Sometimes we're chaotic. Sometimes we're depressed. But it's always fun.
It's always a good time.
Yeah, for you guys.
It's a good time, and it's kind of a long time.
It is a long time.
Our episodes are like sneakily very long. Believe me, I know. I edit like 45 minutes out of it every single week, and they're still like almost 2 hours.
It's really crazy because every single time I think there's no way we're going to be yapping for that long.
No, I know. Last week, I literally texted you and was like, just a warning. The episode is literally 2 hours long. So like you need to be ready for that. And you were like, and you edited out so much. I was like, I know.
Yeah, it's crazy. And on top of that, we also do like bonus episodes in between.
Yeah.
So we were we did a bonus episode. We even like did extra content for our Patreon Shot of Kool-Aid.
Yep. Yeah.
We were just we could not stop talking.
Could not stop talking. Sometimes that just happens.
Yeah. But good thing we have a podcast.
Yeah. I was going to say, if I couldn't talk about nothing for an extended period of time, this probably wouldn't be the right job for me.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to take a sip of my alcohol.
Take a sip of your Coke Zero. Oh, what was I about to say?
Oh, no.
Dang it.
Did it fall out of your head?
It did. I had like something that I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to talk to Amanda about that. And it literally fell out of my ear the second I said, oh.
Okay. Put it back in now. Is it there?
It didn't work.
Damn it. What if I bonk you over the head?
Please don't.
Okay.
I have enough suspected brain damage. I don't need any more.
That just reminded me the other night, I went to like a little Christmas shindig at my friend's house.
Mm-hmm.
And my other friend, Nikki, was there and she's pregnant. She's like very pregnant. She's due in February. And she's like sitting down and she's like, I was like, oh, I want to feel the baby kick because I'm that weird person.
Yeah.
So I like put my hand on her belly and she's like, oh, she's not kicking. And she goes, hold on. And she fucking grabs her belly and just starts shaking it to get her to wake
up.
Good
morning.
And I go, whoa, you can't do that. She goes, yes, I can.
It's going to come out with shaking baby.
She said, my doctor said I can shake the baby while it's inside. I just can't shake it while it's outside. And I said, that's fair, I guess.
I would get a second opinion on that one. I don't know.
I was very confused. She was like, just like jiggling her belly around.
Well, I don't know. Like, I mean, like the idea of pregnancy to me, like really just grosses me out.
Right.
So
like you wouldn't want to feel the baby kick.
No, but also just like when somebody else has it, gross. Don't want to see it. Don't want to look at it. Don't want to even think about it.
A pregnant belly?
Yes. I'm sorry. I don't want to think about you having arms and legs and things inside of you. That's something that truly disgusts me.
That's so funny.
It's like so when I see a pregnant woman doing basically anything, I'm like, what are you doing? Get to a bed. Do you not understand the condition that you're in?
You think pregnant women need to be bedridden at all times?
Yeah, and also I just don't want to see them.
I hate to break it to you. One day you are going to have to look at me.
Not going to like it.
Well, sorry.
It's gross. Just the idea of it's gross to me. I understand that other people are like,
I'll keep it covered.
It's the beauty of life. I don't want to fucking look at it. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to know about it. I don't like when it moves. Whenever I see those videos of people like when they're really pregnant and like the little hand or foot, you can like see it. I'm like, like it's so sickening to me.
Wow.
But yeah, if I see like a really pregnant woman running, I'm like, what are you doing? It's just jostling around
in there. Why would you run when you're pregnant?
Tons of women do.
No, that will not be me.
But yeah, but like anything yoga, I'm like, you're just moving around this thing that's in there that has legs and arms you inside of you. You have extra. You have 4 legs and 4 arms happening. And
hopefully.
It's just so upsetting to me, the whole process of it.
Well, guys,
that's why I think it's so funny when people are like, you're going to get baby fever. And I'm like, you don't understand how much the whole process actually disgusts me to my core.
Because we're in love and you're my baby daddy.
My paternal instincts will kick in.
What if you're like, I love your baby?
my paternal instincts will kick in and I'll go for cigarettes and never come back. Like a real man.
I was thinking more like you'll like be inclined to touch it. You'll be like, let me feel, because that's my future.
Listen, I'll keep it to myself. but it's gross.
Well, you'll keep it to yourself, but I already know.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, what do you want me to lie to you?
Well, you don't have to lie now because I'm not pregnant, but when I do, then you have to lie. Yeah.
Well, yeah, just don't talk to me about it because I'm going to be like, there's way too many legs inside of you right now for me to have, like for you to be asking me these questions.
I'm just going to show up every day when we record with one of those shirts with the toy baby legs coming out of it.
Oh my gosh, sickening. I feel like, don't remind me. Like, listen, I get it. If people love their babies, a miracle of birth. I just personally don't want to have to know or think about it.
You know what? You are who you are.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't change you for the world.
Thank you.
The good news is that when I used to talk about like getting pregnant, you would be very like, I don't want to hear about this. Like, don't talk about it.
Well, because you used to talk about like, I can't wait to have a baby. When we were like 24. I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. But now.
Don't even tell me that.
But now I'm happy because you'll send TikToks of like little babies and you'll be like, this is me with your future baby. And I'm like, hee.
And it's always somebody ruining that baby, for the record.
But I'll take it. You know, I got to take what I can get.
Yeah. It's always someone that's like, took the baby to go see Hereditary or something insane like that.
I have to take what I can get with you.
Yeah, you know what? I think that is fair.
And I will take it. So
I'm a baby whisperer.
No, I know, that's the funniest thing.
Kids love me.
Love you. They literally flock to you, and you're just like, and you do a good job though. You play with them.
Yeah, of course. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I even like some kids. The worst is when you're stuck with a kid that's just like, God, some kids just suck.
Yeah, that's true.
It's because their parents suck. You know what I mean? I mean, it is what it is. Luckily, most of like all of my boyfriend's friends who have kids have cool kids. And then like obviously my nieces and nephews are all really cool. So that's like easy peasy.
So there you go.
Yeah.
You've gotten a good batch of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You get like a whole skeleton in there.
I know. I see, like, that's just the difference between you and I, because I am like, wow, that is crazy. And so
I don't even like to think about myself having organs.
Okay, that's fair. Like
if it was up to me, I would get cut open and there would just be like some confetti in there or something.
Maybe there'd be a lot of like Del Taco.
I just feel like it's really wet in there. Like if you opened me up.
Did you know your bones are always wet?
Yeah.
That's so creepy.
And you just think about that and you're like, gross.
No. The fact that like it is, when I really think about it, I'm like, that's really freaky that like we grew inside of our moms.
Yeah.
Like that's freaky.
Sickening.
And then like we came out and like here we are, like 30 something years later. Like this is who we are. Like that's weird.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
Yeah.
But I did, you know how like people always like to make the joke like, ooh, like technically you're a skeleton and you're just in a meat suit, but actually your brain is you.
That's
like
true.
Your consciousness, and that's inside your skeleton. So that's inside your skull.
Okay, well, hold on. If you took your brain out and put it in another body, would you be you or no?
That's a question as old as time, baby girl. I don't know. I don't think we've ever had a successful brain transplant.
Oh, yeah, I guess not, huh?
But I think, I mean, our consciousness, obviously, and like memory is held in different places. Like we talked about when we were talking about people who get transplants, especially heart transplants, they like will get the personality a little bit.
Yeah, they get like and they'll have like the memories a little bit.
Like they'll like start liking random stuff that the other person liked. Like that does happen.
Have you ever seen that movie with David Duchovny?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I don't remember what it's called, but when his wife gets the heart transplant.
Pay It Forward?
No. That's Haley Joel
Osment.
Another really sad
I just remember
movie.
Also crying a lot during that one.
Yeah. But the David Duchovny one, it was with Minnie Driver.
Yes.
And that, I can't remember the fucking name of it, but oh my gosh.
Well, let me check.
Heartbreaking.
Return to Me.
Yes.
Came out in 2000.
Oh, maybe I'll watch that tonight.
Bonnie Hunt, too.
Yeah, Bonnie Hunt. Great cast.
Really good.
Really good movie.
Jim Belushi. Classic.
Maybe I'll watch that tonight. That's such a good movie. So sad.
Really sad. Yeah, I wouldn't ever watch that on purpose.
Well, I love to cry.
No, I know. You do. That's something we've discussed more than once on here. Like, where you're like, yeah, I just love it because it makes me cry. And I'm like, why would you ever want to watch a movie that would make you cry? But see, that's the thing. Like, when people ask me, like, why do you like scary movies? Like, why do you like being scared? I'm like, I don't know. Some people like crying.
Yeah.
Some people like feeling heartbroken. Like, Why the fuck do people rewatch Blue Valentine, you freaks? That's way freakier to me than watching Saw. Like, you got something deep and dark wrong with you.
I just feel like crying releases those endorphins. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah, and that feels good.
But so does being scared.
Does it?
Yeah, like your adrenaline goes up and then you get to calm down and like, woo.
That's true. That's
like
true.
It's like a feeling of relief. Like after a jump scare and something really gets you, and then you're like after that you're like, woo.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
I do feel like I've been crying a lot more this year though than normal. Like, I mean, I know I cry all the time, but I've never, ever, ever cried watching the movie Elf. And we watched Elf last night and I cried the whole fucking movie.
I was about to say, what part?
I literally just could not stop crying.
It was just the fact that Elf was on.
Well, like when he leaves his papa Elf on the North Pole to go to New York City, I cried.
His narwhal.
On the narwhal.
And now you know narwhals are real.
I know. And I literally told Sam while we were watching it the story of how I didn't know that narwhals were real until this podcast.
Twice. She had to learn on this podcast 2 separate times that narwhals were real.
Well, now I know. So
now she knows. I showed her pictures of them. She's like, gross.
I'm as confused and disgusted by narwhals being real as you are about pregnant women.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like, it's so creepy and weird. But yeah, I cried during that. And then at the end when she starts singing and everyone in New York City starts singing, and then Santa gets up on his sleigh because everyone believes, oh my God, I was bawling. I was a wreck.
And you know what always gets me about that movie? I don't know why in my brain I cannot piece together that is Zooey Deschanel.
It is weird.
She just looks so different.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie The New Guy?
No.
Oh, because she looked like that in The New Guy too. And that was like an old movie. But then she went drastic and got the black hair and the bangs, and that's who I see her as now.
I just never put 2 and 2 together. I also I don't know why it took me until I was probably in my mid to late 20s to realize that was Sarah Jessica Parker in Hocus Pocus.
Well, you are bad with faces.
I do.
So
I am bad with faces, yes.
And celebrities.
But to me, even now, when I watch it, knowing that it's her, it just my brain cannot make it click that that's her.
Like she's just Sarah Sanderson.
Well, to me, she looks so different.
She does.
She looks incredibly different because obviously she was really young. That was probably one of the first things she ever did. And my brain, I grew up on Carrie Bradshaw being Sarah Jessica Parker. So to see her as I don't know, she's probably really young in that movie.
She does
right?
seem really young.
Yeah.
But also Sex and the City had to have started around the same time, no?
I mean, Sex and the City, they're all supposed to be in their 30s, I think, or late 20s. Let me see.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, she was probably in her early 20s in Hocus Pocus.
Sex and the City came out in 1998.
I think Hocus Pocus was 93 or 4.
93. Yeah. So
she, okay.
5-year difference. And that's a big 5 years if you're going from someone who's 21 to someone who's 27.
Yeah.
Oh, Sex and the City.
Love it.
Love it.
So
Love
good.
it so much.
So good. I'm so happy that you got me to do Sex and the City and Desperate Housewives for the first time in my life this year.
In the same year. I know.
Yeah.
That was a really good achievement for me.
It was great. It was a really good TV year for me.
Usually when I try to get her to watch things, she will not do it.
Well,
and you even started from.
I did. We keep forgetting to continue it.
It's one of those though, once you get into it, because the first couple of episodes, you're kind of there's not any, you don't know what's going on. You're not connected to any of the characters. But once you get into it, you're I have to keep watching it.
Yeah.
I can't turn it off.
No, I think we got to episode 2 or 3.
Okay. Yeah.
We got to continue that. But now I'm in Christmas mode. So every day I'm I just want to watch a holiday movie.
I literally have been watching so many holiday movies. The other day, my boyfriend sat down to we sat down to eat dinner. We usually just throw something on. So I put on my favorite movie, Christmas with the Cranks.
You love that movie.
And he literally looks at me and goes, I love you. Can you please put on anything but a Christmas movie right now? And so I put on Wizard of Oz.
It's Christmas.
Because he just doesn't care for Christmas movies. I don't know if his family just wasn't that into Christmas or whatever. But I like all the Frosty the Snowman, and I like all the old Kris Kringle ones where it's the claymation-y type. I love those.
I love those.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, all those ones that came out in the 70s.
The ones with the Heatmeister.
Yes.
Yeah. I love those.
And he had like never really seen them. And so I showed them to him for the first time last year and he was like, oh, like they're cute. But the thing is now it's not nostalgic for him because he didn't watch it growing up. Yeah.
And that's fair to not like it as an adult.
But then so I put on Wizard of Oz because I just needed to put something on so I could start eating. I can't just start eating without something on.
I'm the same exact way.
Like, what do I look like, a crazy person?
I'm literally the same way.
And
I'll literally be like, we cannot eat. Hold on, find what we're watching.
Yeah, same. And so I just put on the next suggested thing and it was Wizard of Oz. That movie is so insane. I totally forgot.
Wizard of Oz is insane.
It's bonkers. Yeah.
But I can't help but love it.
I hadn't seen it since probably I was a little kid.
The Wicked Witch of the West is so terrifying in that movie.
Have you ever seen that video of her on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
Oh, because they were trying to make it
less scary for kids, and she's like, "See, I'm just a lady dressing up. It's for fun."
I know, but she just did such a good job at being scary.
Yeah, well, like, a lot of kids, that was probably like the first like scary thing they ever saw because it's not a horror movie, but like that character is scary.
Yeah,
it's kind of like how the that guy in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang scared everybody.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang,
because that was like a kid, like for really little kids.
Wow,
but it was kind of dark.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in forever.
Yeah. I used to babysit this kid who that was like his favorite movie. We watched it all the time.
I used to watch it a lot when I was a kid. That and Bye Bye Birdie.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Man, the holidays just make you feel nostalgic, don't they?
They do. I love Christmas. I don't understand people or like it's just the whole season. I love the lights. I love that it's chilly and that I feel like people are in a good mood, and I like going into stores and seeing all the holiday stuff. And like, I'm not even a person, I don't decorate my house. I don't do anything like that. Right. I just like it. And so it confuses me when people are such like bah humbug about it.
I know. Like when people are like, it's too early for Christmas music in like late November. I'm like, Christmas music makes people happy. And if it doesn't make you happy, then you're just a miserable piece of shit.
Well, then just don't listen to it. Like, I just don't understand. It's very much, I don't know. It's very much like, oh, that's so normie. That's so mainstream to like Christmas. And it's like, yeah, I do. Whatever. Screw you. I'm a normie. I listen to my fucking Nickelback and I like Christmas.
Yeah. You're a Scrooge and I don't like you. So there.
Yeah. I just like it. They just decorated the whole downtown Long Beach area, and just every time I walk down it, I'm like, oh, that's so cute.
I know. Everything is so cute.
Yeah.
I love the lights. I love the music.
Because I tried to be like one of those people for a couple of years where I was like, Christmas, stupid. Because, I just like thought like, oh, I'm cool. I'm so different.
Yeah. You're like, just give me some spooky stuff.
And then I realized like, oh, I'm weird enough already. I don't need to also pretend like I hate Christmas.
I am the most basic of the bitches, and I've always loved Christmas.
Yeah, it's just fun. The food. I like the food too.
So fun. Ugh.
See, I think that's why I love Thanksgiving so much, is because I'm like, oh, this is like the start of the best time of the year.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And it's like, this is like the marker that like, oh, like, because to me, there's like obviously like Halloween season or whatever, but like Thanksgiving and Christmas are just like one big holiday. So it's like for 2 months, you just kind of do both of that.
I think I don't like Thanksgiving though, because it's like, I love Halloween so much, right? And I love Christmas so much. I need like a break. I can't go from Halloween to Thanksgiving to Christmas because I don't have that much money. I don't have that much time on my hands.
Thanksgiving is not expensive though.
Yeah, but a lot of the time, like people travel on Thanksgiving to go see their family, and it's just like too much. It's just too much. I can't do it I can't do something every single month. I need a break.
Yeah, but think what you did for this year, and it was so easy and fun.
No, I know.
Yeah, that's why Thanksgiving's the best, because you can just do that too. You don't have to do it.
Yeah, when it's like easy and I don't have to go anywhere, it's fine.
Well, and I also feel like there's a lot less pressure to travel for Thanksgiving than versus like Christmas.
Yeah.
Like if you don't go anywhere for Christmas, which like I'm not going anywhere for Christmas this year, and like I feel guilty about it, you know what I mean? But it's also just like it just didn't work out timing wise and with my freaking dog and whatever. But like I feel guilty. But like I never feel guilty about, like if we would have just done Thanksgiving with just me and Andrew, I would have been like, whatever, as long as I get to make my mashed potatoes and whatever.
The first or second year I was with my husband, I can't remember what year it was, but we did Thanksgiving here because we couldn't afford to travel. And it was just the two of us. And we just went to the diner over here and had like turkey sandwiches. And it was actually kind of fun.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds fun. Like that's probably, I think we're going to go see Nosferatu on Christmas Day. And then like we might go meet up with one of my boyfriend's cousins or something. But like, yeah. the problem is I just like doing fun stuff. So it's like whatever. If it's fun, it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. But you're going to Vegas soon, so that's gonna be really fun.
I am. I'm gonna go see the Raiders lose. My friend who I'm going with texted me and she's like, it's gonna be different when we're actually in Vegas, right? Like they're gonna play well. And I'm like, girl, I love your energy.
But also like that's not why you go, right? You just go because you want to see your team play.
Yeah, no. And like actually the fact that they're like so bad is like almost better. I don't want to say that because obviously it'd be great to see like a great team, but it's almost better only because if they do win, it'll be like so exciting.
Yeah, like what if they win and you're there to see it? Like that's fun.
But then if they lose, it's like, well, yeah, we kind of all saw this coming.
Yeah, but you're just gonna like drink and have a great time.
Yeah. I just mean like my expectations aren't very high. So like that actually is better because like if you go and they're really, really good and they like lose, it's like that would be devastating.
Right. Because you're like, great, I'm the bad luck.
Yeah, seriously, that's how it would feel. But now if I go and they win, I can be like, I'm the good luck. And if they lose, it's just like, well, yeah, they're not very good.
There you go. Win.
That's not my fault at all. I'm not even involved.
What day is the game? Is it on that Saturday that you're going?
NFL games on Sundays.
Oh,
so yes, it's on Sunday.
It's on Sunday. Not Saturday.
Not
Got
Saturday.
It. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Because you always watch football on
Sundays.
Sunday.
Yep.
Okay. Shows how much I know. Well,
Saturday is college football.
Saturday's college football.
But I don't really watch college football that much. I used to when I was younger. I just don't have the bandwidth for it anymore. There's too many players and too many moving parts, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
know. I don't.
But stick to just the NFL, and because otherwise, then it's like I can't pay attention to any other sport if I'm doing both college and NFL.
Already sounds like too much for me.
It's just fun. It's like I don't know. It's kind of like how you like to watch like RuPaul's Drag Race, and then you have like your favorite, but then you also have like your second and your third favorite.
Yeah.
So imagine then there was like 3 other drag shows that were going on at the same time, and you're like, oh my god, I just can't keep up with everybody.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's like how I feel when there's too many reality shows at once. Like when there's Love Island is on and then like The Bachelor is on, and I'm like, what? I can't.
Exactly.
Like I do it, but it's hard.
Yeah. Well, and then there's also always one that falls behind, and then you get spoiled. It gets spoiled.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. This weekend I just was looking at memes about that healthcare CEO getting shot. Sorry. I know there's people who are like, oh, it's not funny, but the memes were very funny.
I know. I was wondering if we were going to talk about it.
I feel like how can we not?
Yeah. Well, the mugshot just got released.
The mugshot just got dropped, and it's like they want women to be thirsting after him. I'm sorry. If I was that cop and I arrested him and I took that mugshot of him, I would be like, hey, buddy, we're going to need you to
tone it down.
We're going to need you to tilt the chin down, maybe neck back.
Yeah. Like try to look ugly.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Can we like rough you? Can we like give this man dark circles under his eyes or something?
Me and Cassidy looked at the mugshot before we recorded, and we had some feelings about it.
My favorite, I did screenshot some tweets for you that I thought you'd think were funny. Okay, so April Glick said on Twitter, quote, Luigi Mangione sounds like what J.K. Rowling would name an Italian character.
Just stereotypical.
Yeah. Rob Den Bleeker on Twitter said, beloved murderer canceled after old tweets surface. And this one's got to be my favorite. From Jess Tom said, new workout goal is to have a body where after I commit a crime, the media posts my shirtless pics and everyone is like, wow.
You guys, don't be mad at us.
You can't be mad at us. If you're mad at us, you have to be mad at literally the whole entire internet.
Literally, shut up. Don't be mad at us.
It's just, we're a comedy podcast.
We're a comedy podcast.
Dedicated to the mysterious.
And he just happens to be really fine.
Sometimes it happens.
Sorry.
I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I was going to say, I feel like based on some of the things that I have seen on the internet this weekend that have been quite popular, I don't think us reading some funny tweets is going to be what's going to push anyone over the edge.
Probably true, yeah.
Dude, I saw this was the craziest thing I probably have ever seen. So, you know, the Ben Shapiro and like that type of guy.
Yeah.
Right. So they all released a bunch of
that fucking dork.
That dude is such a fucking dork. So him and like a couple other like right-wing podcast guys or like red pill podcast guys, whatever, released things being like, the left has gone crazy because they don't care that the CEO was shot, right? And they always love to do like that, like the left has gone crazy. And then you go to the comments and it's a bunch of conservatives being like, nope, been conservative my whole life. I don't care that guy got shot. Like literally they're being like, no, this is like probably the one issue that we all agree on.
Yeah.
Because that guy literally probably killed more people than any serial killer that could ever dream of killing people.
You're not wrong.
And I'm just saying, like, this guy, if you don't know anything about this guy and you're like, why would anybody be happy about anyone dying or like be ambivalent, not care that somebody got shot, right? Like, yeah, of course. Like, we do a podcast where we literally talk about like, there's no perfect victims, like whatever. So this guy, since he became CEO, first of all, he is like 100 millionaire, might even like this super, super rich guy, already making tons of money. He implements an AI system that has a 90% failure rate that just denies people's insurance claims, like blanketed. And so if you've ever been in an accident or had to go to the hospital or had your insurance claim denied, you know that how difficult it is to call and fight that and try to get them to cover your necessary thing. So now imagine you're not even fighting against a person who made that claim. And like the regular denial rate is around like 14%, which like is still like ridiculous, but whatever. Mm-hmm. Theirs was 35% or 36%.
It was like the highest.
It was the highest one, like significantly higher. And it's because they used an AI program that would just blanket deny things. And then a lot of people don't have like, they don't know, or they don't have like, they're sick or their family member is sick and they don't have like the time or the capacity to call and fight it to get it covered. And so it just ends up staying denied.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, like that's a pretty evil person in my opinion, personally.
I agree.
But I was going to say, I don't think me saying any of this would shock anybody who's ever been a listener of this podcast.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
So
definitely not.
That also, I mean,
every once in a while we still get those people that squeak by. They're like, how dare you guys say this?
Yeah.
But you know what?
Honestly, that is like very rare and
It is rare.
Like few and far between. Well, you know what? Let's talk about some people who do appreciate us.
Yes,
and it's all of you. First of all, we love you guys.
We love you.
We're not assuming that you guys are going to be jerks. So Christina bought us some beers.
Christina.
And said, hi, ladies. Help me celebrate my 35th birthday on December 18th.
Oh my gosh.
Please enjoy some Taco Bell for me since I'm finally pregnant.
Oh, she hates you, Christina. No, I'm just kidding.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I just don't like to think about all the extra bones you have inside of you right now. It gives me a freak out.
Congratulations. It's so exciting.
Yay. And this baby will not let me have any beef. Oh, so no more double beef burritos for me until sometime in July. Like, is it even mine?
Dude,
you know what? You should get a DNA test. You don't know what that man's been up to.
That is another thing about being pregnant that is so funny to me. Like, you could love something or hate something and you get pregnant and all of a sudden it flip-flops.
Dude, there's people who literally crave shit that they would like never eat in a million years.
Like, what if all of a sudden I'm like, I want to suck down some clams?
Yeah.
Like, that would be crazy.
And then you're not supposed to eat raw seafood when you're pregnant.
And I'm like craving it.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me slurp that muscle.
You smell, I don't know. You're making it so much worse. Like, you smell your husband's tuna melts and you're like, I need it.
Oh, God.
Like, that could happen. It happens.
That'd be crazy.
Hey, as long as you don't like start eating dead bodies or something, I think you'll be fine.
That would be even crazier.
Yeah, but that would suck. Like, oh my gosh, imagine you're like,
all of a sudden I don't like Taco Bell.
I was gonna say like this stuff that you like makes you nauseous, and so you're like, I can't even enjoy the fact that I'm supposed to be eating a lot of calories right now because I don't even want to eat the stuff.
That'd be my worst nightmare.
Anyway, she says, keep up the great work. Love you both, Christina.
Christina,
congratulations and happy birthday.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you and your new baby, who is probably going to love double beef burritos when it gets older.
Absolutely.
And let's also welcome some new patrons. Welcome to Elizabeth.
Hello, Elizabeth.
And welcome to, where did it just go? And welcome to Lily R.
Hello, Lily.
Thank you guys so much for joining our Patreon. I hope you're enjoying our coverage of McMillions, which the last episode of that is coming out this week, if it's not already out by now. And we also have a new shot of Kool-Aid out. And we have a bonus episode that came out like 2 weeks ago. And then we just recorded another bonus episode that's going to be coming out in the next 2 weeks.
Yes.
We've got so much fun stuff on there for you guys right now. So make sure you go check that out. And don't forget, You can gift or be gifted our Patreon subscription. So if you don't want to pay for it yourself and your mom or your aunt or your brother asked you, hey, what do you want? You can be like, hey, pay $5 a month this year and give me this or whatever. And if you sign up for the whole year, you actually get 2 months free. So that
true.
Is also a good gifting option. We also have our merch store. Of course, you can go check that out at dtkpod.com/support. And if you are not looking to spend any extra money, because I know money's tight literally everywhere.
It really is.
All over. We get it. Us, same girl. But just leaving us a 5-star review wherever you listen does a whole lot of help. And we just totally dig you.
We do.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. All right. Well, should we get started?
Let's get started.
All right. So this week I'm going to be doing a pretty big one. So I won't be surprised if you've already heard about it or other people have heard about it.
Okay.
I'm going to be talking about the woman with no face, or the Phantom of Heilbronn.
Oh, yes.
Heilbronn.
Okay.
Yeah. So my sources today were an article in Time magazine by Claudia Heimelreich, ifuckinglovescience.com, an article by James Felton.
I thought you were saying that. Like, I thought you were just being like, I fucking love science.
I do fucking love science.
I know.
But it's ifl.com, but it stands for I fucking love science.
Okay.
Crime Magazine, an article by Paul Buchanan, and of course, Wikipedia.
Of course. Go donate.
All right. So this all starts in 2007.
All right.
Well, it doesn't start, but that's where our story is going to start.
Perfect.
We're doing a little bit of a jump around here.
Okay.
A 22-year-old police officer named Michelle Kaisweiter and her partner, who was like not her marriage partner, her actual cop
partner, yeah.
Like the way partner was used traditionally. They were parked in a parking lot around 2 p.m. enjoying their lunch break, and they were in the German town of Heilbronn.
I had a feeling this was
Heilbronn.
Germany.
Yeah. So before either of them knows what is happening, 2 people jump in the back of the car and shoot them both point blank, steal their handcuffs and their guns, and run off.
Oh my gosh.
And while her partner does survive with pretty serious injuries, he was actually in a coma for weeks. And the last thing he remembers is pulling over so they could eat. He doesn't even remember the attack. Unfortunately, Michelle does die from her injuries on the scene. So she's dead on arrival.
Fuck.
Yeah. And she's just 22. And so, of course, this was like a huge deal. Like, this was a super shocking crime, super uncommon, not only for Germany, but also just in the area that they were in. It was like not a big city. And this sparked a huge investigation, and they bring in experts in DNA, fingerprints, and all types of forensics to try and just investigate what happened here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. This is like obviously like a media sensation also, because she was so young. She was a police officer. And it was like this, it seemed like an organized hit went out against these 2.
Okay. So they don't think it was just like a random person pulling up, shooting them.
Yeah, I guess. Like, there was no altercation.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like it was a police shootout or they were pulling somebody over or anything like that. It literally was just they were sitting there chilling and somebody jumped in the back of the car and shot them at point blank. So they did swab for DNA in the back of the police vehicle. And while there were no fingerprints or other pieces of evidence back there, they did get 2 samples of trace DNA that wasn't from either of the officers or anybody working on the scene. One was on the back seat, and the other one was from the center console where somebody could have reached over to shoot.
Okay.
And these 2 samples were from the same person. And when the DNA was tested, some very surprising results came back.
Oh, boy.
First, the attacker was a woman. And the DNA matched an unknown person that is actually already in the police system.
Oh.
After this crime, this person would be known as the Phantom of Heilbronn.
Sorry, what year was this again?
2007.
2007. Okay. Wow. Okay. Way later than I would have expected.
Yeah. A female serial killer who had been attached to dozens of murders and other crimes via trace DNA evidence over the last 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. This was shocking because this was unlike the other crimes that had been attached to this DNA, like where this DNA has been found at the scene. So back in 1993, there was a 62-year-old Lieselette Schlanger. Sorry, these are German names, and I'm really trying, and I even looked up how to say them. This is as close as I can get.
Un kleiner weißer Schneemann.
You know it. who had been strangled to death with a wire. She was a 62-year-old woman who had been found, and the wire was from a bouquet of flowers that were found at the scene.
Okay.
The case was immediately getting cold because there was no witnesses, no evidence, and the only thing that they did find was some trace DNA that was found on a teacup that was next to the victim's bed. But this was early on in the DNA game, so there was no databases or anything to go off of. So without a suspect to directly compare the DNA to, they literally had nothing to do with this DNA. So they just like kind of put it away in storage, and the case went cold and unsolved. Then years later, in 2001, a 61-year-old man named Joseph Walsenbach was found strangled to death with a piece of twine in his own kitchen.
Okay, so she has like a pattern.
Yeah, so it's a similar type of crime. There was also no evidence found on the scene other than some DNA that was left on a kitchen drawer near the body. So now it's 2001. The technology is getting better. And not only do they know this is female DNA, but they're also able to put it into a database and connect it to the murder from 1993.
Okay.
Yeah. In an even stranger turn of events, only 3 months later, pretty far away from where the last murder was, a 7-year-old boy was walking home when he stepped on a needle, like a hypodermic needle. Hypodermic, whatever. You know what I mean?
I know what you're talking
like
about.
Like a needle you shoot up with.
Yeah.
It was a heroin needle. So the needle had blood on it. So the boy's parents obviously wanted to get him and the blood tested for any diseases or anything like HIV.
Like he stepped on it like it went into him?
On his foot, yeah.
Oh my God.
So it broke. The glass broke and everything. And it just went, yeah. So they did test the blood, and luckily there was no HIV or anything else present. But when they tested for DNA, it came back as a match for the suspect in both of the strangling murders.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. So at this point, this mysterious DNA woman is dubbed the woman without a face because they have her DNA, but they literally cannot link her to like a person. There's no other evidence at any of these scenes. They do bring in like a profiler, like a criminal profiler at this point. And the profiler says she might be like a drug user, but she's clearly like very highly intelligent and meticulous and really good at what she does because she didn't leave behind any other traces of her. And all of this DNA, even besides the one that was in the needle, was all trace DNA. But in the needle, they said that they tested the blood. So obviously that's different. Because like back in the day, they used to only think the things that they could test for DNA were only like blood, semen, hair follicle, like stuff like that. And then they realized that we're kind of shedding DNA all the time, like in our skin.
You know what I was thinking as you were saying this? Like I shed like a motherfucker. My hair is everywhere. I could never commit a crime.
I think they can only get DNA out of your hair. I don't know if this is true, so do not quote me on this, but I think they can only get DNA from your hair if the root is attached.
Oh, okay.
Because like the root is what has the DNA in it.
Yeah, and I have bleached the shit out of my hair, so.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't think like your split ends. Because I'm pretty sure like that type of, and we've talked about this on the show before, that's why I think this way, but I'm not 100% sure. I think that type of like hair matching, like broken hair, is actually like mostly debunked.
Okay.
Like, it can't be used really.
That makes sense.
So like I said, at this point, she's being called by police the woman without a face. And they thought maybe she was a drug user who was just highly intelligent, who would rob people to feed her habit. And those other two murders, they like the intention wasn't murder. They were just robberies gone wrong. Like she got walked in on, or the victim woke up when they shouldn't have.
Okay.
And so like her motivation was not murder. That's just what happened because she was trying to rob them. And then they found like she got caught basically. And they were old people. So she was like, oh, just.
I mean, yeah, but then that doesn't add up to her literally jumping in a police car and shooting two police officers.
So remember, this is way before. This is in 2001.
Oh, yeah.
So we're back way before. This is 1993 and 2001.
You're right.
So like the reason people start putting this together or like it became mainstream knowledge is because of the police officer deaths. But this had been going on for decades.
Okay.
This motive became more solid after her DNA was found at the site of another home invasion robbery where the people weren't home. So they were like, okay, so clearly she breaks into people's houses. She probably steals because she's a drug user. We found this heroin needle with her DNA on it. And then her DNA was also found at the site of a gem theft in France the following year.
Okay.
So they're like, okay, she's like a really good thief. So once again, she might have been high or getting sick because she didn't have enough money to get the drugs that she needed and committed these murders because she was getting caught.
I was going to say, seems like really good cover-up work for someone who's like high out of her mind.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, dude. Think about all the people that like function daily and they're like super high on drugs and you didn't even know they were a user.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Or like people who are like alcoholics and they're like, yeah, basically every time I saw you, I was like blacked out drunk, and you're like, what?
That whenever that happens to me, like that happens all the time where people are like, oh, that person is high all the time. Like they smoke a bong when they wake up in the morning. I'm like, what do you mean?
I had a coworker once who got in trouble at work because they were drinking on the job. And then it turned out that they were like an alcoholic and had been drinking from the morning to night, but they were so you would just have never guessed it.
I worked with people like that too at my current job. That happens all the time.
That's what I'm saying. Like some people, especially if you've been an addict or a user for a long time, it's like they're so good at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also like your tolerance gets super high and whatever. Sorry, I went on a tangent. Who, me? On a tangent? Are you joking? So in 2005, there's another incident. Once again, this is all before the cop shooting. In 2005, she's also linked to the shooting death of a young man because her DNA was found on the bullets that were used for the murder.
Okay.
So they know who committed the murder. It was his own brother. Like they immediately caught him, immediately arrested him, but obviously they still like test everything, whatever. And when they swabbed the bullets, her DNA was found on the bullets that were used.
This bitch is everywhere.
Yeah. And so now they're like, okay, does she maybe, so these people were travelers. Obviously people used a different word. In a lot of the articles I read, they used a word that we don't use anymore.
Got it.
And, but they were travelers. And so people were like, okay, maybe she has connections to some sort of organized crime with a nomadic group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why she's showing up in like France and Germany and not just super local. And even in Germany, like all of her crimes were kind of all over Germany. It's not like it was like within 20 miles of each other.
Yeah.
You know? And so now that is the new working theory. Like maybe she's working in some sort of more organized crime group. Or maybe she's like higher up in an organized crime group that just petty criminals will buy things from her or her group. And that's how that's happening.
Okay.
Because they also didn't say if any other DNA was found on the bullets or anything. They just said that hers was the one that was like in the system.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Because they could have tested and there was like 3 DNAs and hers just was one of them. I don't know. Okay. So by the time of the shooting death of the police officers in 2007. I'm so used to saying,
I was like, when did we jump that far ahead?
Now it's been so long since
2007.
Yeah. And now we go 2017. We don't go 2007. So now it like fucks up my head.
The fact that it's been so long since 2007 makes me want to die. So
yeah, almost 10 years. So,
oh my God.
So our phantom has been linked to over 40 crimes.
20 years, by the way. You just said almost 10 years.
Oh my gosh, 20. Yeah. Oh my God. It's so bad.
So bad. Okay. Wow. Now I really want to die.
I almost said 20 years. And then I was like, no, that's way too long. It has to be like 10.
That can't be right.
We're getting so old. Oh my God, it's crazy. Thank God I always wear sunscreen. Okay. So by 2007, when this very high profile killing happens, and as we know, police and media only care if you get murdered if you're someone that they care about.
Yes, we know that.
Yeah. This is why the nickname goes from a woman without a face to the Phantom of Heilbronn, because the one that makes it national media or whatever took place in that city.
Okay, got it.
But by this point, this DNA is linked to over 40 crimes.
Jesus.
Yeah. And like I said, this is like robberies, this is murders, this is stolen goods, all sorts of things.
She's doing the most.
Yeah. And she's busy, dude. Like she's been doing a lot. Like it seems like every 6 months there's like some new thing, whether it's a robbery or murder or
and
a
if
murder
she's
case.
Doing all this like drugged out, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh. If I'm like even a little hungover, I can't do anything.
No. Once I take an edible, I cannot leave my house.
Oh, yeah. Once you take
done.
an edible, you can barely answer a text message.
I can't. I literally cannot.
So after this attack on the police officers, they put out a $400,000 reward for anyone who has information that can lead to the arrest of this woman. And like she's up there, right? She's like maybe the most wanted person in Germany at this point. Because as we all know, like if you are someone who commits a crime against police, like people are not fucking with that because, you know, the police are like not our own or whatever, right? So they had done some sketches based on DNA profiles that they had done of her. And they also did sketches of her as a trans man or disguised as a man.
Okay.
Because the only witnesses to any of the crimes or crime scenes that she had been linked to had only seen men fleeing the scene and not a woman. So they were like, well, we don't know she could identify as a trans man and we just are only seeing the DNA profile. So how we would not know that.
Okay.
Or this could be, a cis woman who just disguises themselves as a man. We don't know. So they did drawings and like sketches and, those like little things that they do on the computer.
Yeah.
Like the composites, whatever.
Yeah.
They did them as both, as all three, basically.
Okay. Were they getting witnesses like were actually saying this is who I saw and describing a face?
No, they were using the DNA profile to figure out what the face would most likely look like.
That's crazy
because
that you can do that.
None of the witnesses had gotten like a good look at someone, but they had like said like, oh, we saw a man. Like for example, and it was like robberies, right? So it's not like people being face to face with these people. It's like, oh, the Johnson's house got robbed. We saw a dude with dark hair running away from the Johnson's house last night at 3 a.m.
Okay.
Like, it was kind of like that.
Okay. Doesn't seem very accurate.
I mean, they're pretty good, I think, at once they have your DNA. I mean, I guess I don't know back then. Like nowadays, once they have your DNA of like trying to figure out what your features would be like. Obviously, there's other factors like weight and if you get plastic surgery and stuff like that. Yeah. But I think they can kind of determine like
what you look like for the most part.
Eye color, hair color, that kind of crap.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Once again, I am not a DNA specialist. Do not quote me on it. I've just watched a lot of Forensic Files, and this is what they're claiming.
You fooled me this whole time.
I'm speaking with such authority. So this is when a crazy case happens in 2008. There were 3 men who were executed, and their bodies were like lifted out of a river.
Whoa.
Yeah. Pretty quickly, 2 men who were kind of known criminals in the area were arrested because all of the men were involved in the same kind of like organized criminal activity. There was some like people stealing cars and then taking them over to Russia to sell them or whatever, like that kind of thing scheme was going on. And when the 2 men were arrested, they searched their car, and sure enough, there's blood evidence that the bodies had been in the back of the car. And it was like basically a lock of a case. Like there was tons of physical evidence. People had seen these people together. These people were known criminals. One of the guys who was arrested was like an informant for the police. So I think he thought he could get away with it. But guess who else's DNA showed up when they swabbed down every inch of that car?
The bitch of Heilbronn.
Our Phantom.
Yes.
And people were like, oh my God. Okay. So maybe we thought maybe she was connected to organized crime. Maybe we got this all wrong. And yes, she is a drug user or whatever, but she's actually like a contract killer.
What does that mean?
Like a hit woman.
Oh.
And that's why we keep finding her connected to all these random things. Like maybe somebody wanted that gem and they hired her because she's like a fucking sneaky little spy bitch. And that's why we can't find her DNA, can't connect it to anybody because she's like a ghost.
I mean, she does seem really smart and good at hiding herself.
Well, she's connected to all these different crimes. She's never been caught. They don't even have a idea what she looks like. They have to look at her DNA and just guess.
Yeah.
They don't know if they're actually a trans person or wearing disguises. And like, It just reminds me of the story that I told on Patreon where they just cannot figure out who this person is.
Which one?
The one I just did about
yes.
the woman, Jennifer
Yes.
Fairgate. So they interview the two suspects and they're like, okay, you guys give it up. You hired a contract killer to do the hit, right? And both of the men are like, nope, we did not. It was literally just us two. But both of them obviously were like, well, he's the one that actually shot them. Like they just implicate each other over and over again, right? Like nobody will take the blame. They're like, well, all I did was help dispose of the body, like classic. And what do we say? Nobody talks. Everybody walks. Get it together, criminals.
Okay, we do need to make that merch, I think, actually.
I did not come up with that, for the record.
I know, but it's just too good.
But during this time, they insist there's no woman involved. It was literally just us two. And for the record, it was him, not me, to quote both of them. But they did find out that the guy whose car that they used, he had actually just gotten it. And it was a pre-used car. And he had just gotten it like 2 months before. So the DNA could have gotten in there at any point leading up to the case. And so, of course, the lead goes cold again.
Damn.
But like, why was she there, right?
She's good.
And they even said they got into contact with the people who sold the car and they were like, just normal people, like no connections to anything weird. Yeah. So at this point, Chief Superintendent Horst Hogg. I'm sorry. It might be Horst Hag, but either way, that is his name.
I'm sorry, sir.
Sometimes people have funny names. It's not our fault. Okay. He told an Australian journalist named Alan Hall, quote, "We are as baffled as everybody else is about how her DNA came to be here. But it is one more piece in this mosaic. All criminals, no matter how deadly or how clever, all will slip up eventually. We just hope we catch her before she kills again."
Please.
And this is where things get real spicy.
Oh no.
So in March of 2009, the police in France are trying to identify a body that had been burnt up.
Oh, no.
Right? They were like 90% sure they knew who it was because it was like involved in a larger situation.
Okay.
And they were pretty sure they knew who this guy was. And they also knew that he had applied for asylum. He was an immigrant. He had applied for asylum in France. And so he had to fill out these like forms and do fingerprinting for his asylum application.
Okay.
So what they did is they swabbed his fingerprints from that application for DNA and then tested it against him.
Okay.
The body.
Okay.
But when they ran the DNA, it came back as a match for the Phantom of Heilbronn.
The burnt person.
Yes.
No.
Dun, dun, dun. And they're like, okay, so a prosecutor's spokesperson told Spiegel, that's what's the name of it. I don't know.
I'm so sorry, Germany, but like
it's the name of a German newspaper. I looked up how to say it, and it just made me feel really stupid.
But German words are a little like funny sounding.
German and Dutch words got to be the funniest sounding words.
They're a little funny.
And listen, if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at? So this prosecutor's spokesperson says, obviously, that was impossible as the asylum seeker had been a man and the Phantom's DNA belonged to a woman.
Or so we think.
So this really is where they're like, okay, we need to get like creative about how we're looking at this investigation. Because clearly we're missing something that should be the puzzle piece. Like the guy said, it's just another piece in this mosaic that is this DNA rabbit hole. And this is when they realized,
oh no, I'm so nervous.
The French lab and the lab in Heilbronn used the same brand of cotton swabs that were manufactured at the same German company. These swabs were supposed to be sterile. That's how they were marketed to people. And technically they were sterile because they had been processed to remove all germs, fungi, and viruses, which is what you do to make something sterile. But it did not destroy DNA. And they shouldn't have been using these swabs for DNA collection but they were. The phantom, or the woman without a face, was a woman, but she was not a criminal. She just worked at the Greiner Bio 1 factory. In Germany.
No, shut the fuck up. Like, actually shut the fuck up. No. Are you fucking kidding me?
Mm-mm.
No. Cat, no. No.
I know. Why are you gonna cry?
Because that's crazy. What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
That really took a turn. That shocked me.
I told you.
Okay.
This one was a shocker.
What the fuck?
So they had been looking for this woman with over 40 crimes, quote unquote, connections to over 40 crimes for decades.
Oh my God.
And I was going to say she didn't exist. She did exist, but she just was the person who was processing the cotton swabs at the manufacturer.
I cannot believe this.
I know. You need a minute.
That, like, what?
I know.
So now they have no idea if any of those cases were connected. They have nothing.
Yep.
I'm literally shook to my core.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, luckily, they did find the men who killed Michelle. They were actually neo-Nazi terrorists who had also murdered 9 other people in a migrant killing spree because they're Nazis and they hate people. So they had killed a bunch of brown people that they thought had connections to being like migrants to Germany. And then nobody is exactly sure why they killed Michelle and tried to kill her partner. It could have just been because they were cops and they saw the opportunity to steal some guns. But they were Nazis, and them and another woman actually were arrested.
All right, wait, hear me out.
Yes.
The woman who worked at the place, what if she was the murderer?
Honestly,
and she was covering up, being like, oh, this is how my fingerprints got on the thing.
So it's actually funny. If you ever watch like the show Dexter.
I've never seen it, but.
Okay. So one of the things that when you work in like a lab or you work in a police department, they take like your DNA and your fingerprints and they put them into a database. And then when they get fingerprints or DNA from a crime scene, if you worked on that crime scene, they like run it through and you're just eliminated because you worked the crime scene.
Oh.
So I was like, oh my gosh, what if this is just actually like the smartest murderer in the world?
I mean, it could be.
And was like, well, I work at the DNA swab place.
It literally could be.
But I'm not saying that. I'm sorry. You're probably a lovely woman.
No, I'm sure you're a lovely woman, but also.
But that would make a great movie. That would make a great double twist.
But also, if you
Shyamalan
did
style.
do these things,
you're very smart.
You're very smart.
Yeah,
Just saying.
We can't even hate.
No.
But the question is, after this, okay, so you know, all the time we look at cases and somebody seems like an obvious suspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll say, well, DNA tests have ruled this person out.
Right.
And that's usually because they have DNA from the scene and it doesn't match the suspect.
Correct.
So how many people do you think that were actually guilty got ruled out because they didn't match this woman's DNA, first of all?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Or how many cases do you think they just didn't investigate properly because they're like, well, we have this woman's DNA.
And it's a woman.
We know it's a woman.
Right.
So we're not going to look into her male neighbor who harassed her or like whatever, you know? And like,
oh my God. Literally, I can't even believe
crazy?
This. I just, what the, it's like, you know what's funny? I feel like, I don't know if I've ever actually heard this story, but I heard of it. So I knew what it was.
The name of it, there's also been movies. Like there was a movie and a documentary, I think both called The Woman with No Face.
Yeah, like the title of it is like famous.
Yeah.
But I had never actually heard of it. And that, wow. That was a twist. I did not expect that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, and it just took them so long to figure it out. But also I'm like, dang, that girl, that woman who is working at the cotton swab factory, she had some job security because she was working there for that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying too, is like they never linked it back to her ever.
No. And this isn't the only case of this happening.
That's scary.
Yeah. Where there's been other contamination. Well, that's actually one of the things. Sorry, I'm going to go way off script here.
Go ahead.
That's actually one of the things with the John Benet Ramsey case. Remember that they think that the male DNA, because it was like trace DNA or whatever, or like could have been from the factory that her underwear was made in.
Yes.
Like that's like one of the theories and like one of the things that has actually happened in cases before where they like get this DNA and they're like going whole hog and they're like, okay, it says that he's this ethnicity and this whatever, and it turns out that it's because it was from the factory that it was made in. But like this one, they like tested the DNA and they're like, okay, like for a while they thought she might have been like a Russian spy or like hit woman because her DNA was showing like Eastern European descent kind of, right? Because they like are doing the heritage testing thing. Yeah.
Also, like just the fact, like she's taking this DNA, she's swabbing it, and she's not putting two and two together that this is her DNA.
Well, she's not swabbing anything. She just works at the place that makes the Q-tips. And so what they do, because like things like that have to be sanitized, right?
Yeah.
So she's like making them whatever. And obviously she's doing something wrong in this process.
Yeah, someone's doing something very wrong.
But she probably thought, well, it gets sanitized after I do my thing because they're like double sealed and whatever, like how they are when you
would think
send it to a doctor's office, right? You get the swab and they swab in your mouth or swab up your nose to see what you're sick
but
with.
Wouldn't she be like wearing gloves?
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. There's just so many things that I just don't understand.
Yeah. As far as I could see, her name was not released. And there are names on some of these people that I did not put names to in this story because first of all, I just didn't want there to be 1,000 names.
Yeah.
And also some of them were like kind of harder to find. And for me, if a name is kind of hard to find and it's a victim or someone who's on trial, I'm like, okay, that's hard to find for a reason, so I'm not going to throw it out here.
Yeah.
But like if you guys want, obviously you can do your own research and whatever, but yeah, but obviously there's like a million conspiracy theories about this too because of just how ridiculous it is.
Wow.
But yeah, it's not the first and it probably won't be the last time that something like this happens.
My mind is blown.
I know.
Like
when I was reading the first story, I was like, what is happening here? And I was like, how could there be a serial killer this big that I never heard of? And a woman serial killer? Like female serial killers are so rare.
Yeah.
That I was like, no fucking way that I've never heard about this female serial killer.
Cassidy's like, I am chronically online.
Yeah, literally.
I would have heard of this.
I was like, I probably would have heard about this when it was breaking.
Yeah, in 2007.
Yeah, I was in high school.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, high school.
You were. No, you weren't.
I would have been in 8th grade.
8th grade, because I started high school in 2006.
Yeah. But
crazy.
Yeah, so crazy. So that is the twisty, turny story of the woman with no face or the Phantom of Heilbronn.
Hi, guys. It's me, Amanda, your co-host of Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Maybe you've heard of me.
Maybe you've heard of me. Maybe you haven't. If you haven't, I'm sorry. You're missing out. But here we are.
She's the goodness.
I am. I bring the good and the ness.
And the ness.
So going in, obviously, you guys know I love a theme. You know I love the holidays. So obviously, I cannot go through the rest of December without just continuing to do holiday-themed stories.
Okay.
That's just who I am as a person, and I'm not going to change. So today, we are going to talk about Captain Santa and the Christmas tree ship.
Okay.
Let's
roll.
So my sources were wisconsinshipwrecks.org, christmasship.org, archives.gov by Glenn V. Longacre, wisconsinfrights.com by Charles Hintz, seahistory.com, and Wikipedia. I know you guys are all very confused why I'm doing something on the sea, but here we are.
I know. I'm actually surprised you were able to read the information.
Oh,
on
just
this.
wait till you see the photos.
Oh, I love when there's photos.
They made me physically ill.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
What's that thing that you have where you can't look at things that are underwater?
Yeah. I don't know what it's called.
Oh.
But I have it.
Submergophobia. I know that's not what it's called.
That would make sense,
But
though.
that would make way more sense. I should name things more often.
Trademark that. Submergophobia.
I came up with it first. If any of you little freaks even think about stealing my trademark.
And that is what I have.
I'm trademarking it right now.
She's trademarking it.
Wait for Submergia
Phobia.
Part 1, Submergophobia Part 1, released in a theater near you.
That's right. All right. So what was later known as the Christmas tree ship was a 3-masted schooner built in Milwaukee in 1868 called the Rouse Simmons, or the Roose Simmons.
You know it was built well if it was built in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee?
I'm not joking.
Really?
Milwaukee's best, man.
Is it? For building ships?
Milwaukee is like the name of that really famous tool brand.
Oh.
That red one. I think it's Milwaukee.
Wow. You would know a tool brand. That checks out.
I have a Milwaukee pack out. That's why I know for camping.
Oh. The schooner was 123 feet long, which I feel like when you're talking about like feet, that seems really, really big, but it's not really a huge ship by any means.
No, not at all. 123 feet is not big.
No.
Think about it. It gets like real skinny at the ends.
Yeah.
So like the actual usable part of the ship is like probably like 75.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not big by any means. It's like one of those ships. Okay, you know those replicas that people put on display like in a bottle with like the 3 masts?
Yes.
It literally looks like that.
It looks like an old pirate
kind
ship.
of like a pirate ship, yeah. Originally, the Rouse Simmons was owned by a wealthy man named Charles Hackley, and it was built to ship lumber from company mills to different ports around Lake Michigan, and it would make weekly runs from Michigan to Chicago.
Okay. And what year again is this?
This is...
Sorry, take a drink. Everyone always says that. I always ask that.
I know, and I asked it in yours too. So it was built in 1868.
Okay.
And then Hackley, who was the original owner of this ship, he sold the ship in 1910.
Okay, so like a significant amount of time had passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So the ship was around for like decades.
Okay, yeah.
And in 1910, a man named Herman Schooneman was interested in purchasing it. And before we go on, I just want to connect this to your story a little bit. He is German. And
German Day.
It's German Day, and a little bit more. I'll talk a little bit more about Germany in a second.
Germany, we love you.
We do.
Sorry, your names are hard for me to say.
They are, but I don't know.
That's a me problem.
But we
not a
also
you
do this
problem.
every single time. Like as you were telling my story, I was like, "That's so funny. I have a connection to Germany."
We do mind meld on accident.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah. Good for us.
So Schooneman, he was interested in purchasing this ship, but he wasn't like a wealthy man or anything. So he wasn't really able to buy the full ship, but he was able to buy a share of it.
Okay.
So he bought 1/8 of the ship. And then another man named Captain Charles Nelson bought another 1/8 of the ship. And then the remaining share was owned by a businessman named Manus J. Bonner.
Okay.
Who was obviously really rich. So the first man who bought the Rouse Simmons for the 1/8, Herman Schooneman, he had been in the Christmas tree business for quite a few years. And I don't know if you guys know this.
It's just such a funny, I don't know.
The Christmas tree business.
Yeah, I don't know why that's such a funny sentence to me, but it made me laugh.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but Germany is actually the one who created decorating Christmas trees. Did you know that?
I think we talked about it a long time ago on our Patreon.
Probably.
One of our Christmas specials, because I vaguely remember us having this discussion.
That would make sense. But that is a German tradition that had then come over to America, and that is why we decorate Christmas trees.
Very goated of you. Germany.
Yeah, crazy, right?
That's a pretty good one.
I know.
We got Ireland's got the jack-o'-lanterns.
Yes.
Germany's got the trees. All
Germany's
right.
got the Christmas trees.
You love to see it.
We do love to see it. So, like I said, Herman has been in the Christmas tree business for a few years. He and his brother August, who he had been in business with, they were born in Wisconsin, and they moved to Chicago in 1885 to make their Christmas tree business really thrive, since Chicago's harbor was like the busiest one at this time.
Got it. Okay.
So there was a lot of Christmas tree ships around. Like they weren't the only ones doing this. And what these ships would do is they would sail up north where there was like a lot of pine trees that would grow. They would chop down the pine trees, load thousands of trees onto their ship, and go back to Chicago's harbor, dock and then sell them to wholesale business people for them to sell in like grocery stores and other stores.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And this business was really important to these wholesalers because the farther up north you go, the more dangerous the water and the weather gets, especially in the winter. So they obviously needed like sailors and other people to do this dangerous job for them.
They're like, we're not.
They're like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, they're like, I run a grocery store.
Yeah, literally.
I'm Trader Joe.
Literally Trader Joe himself. Yeah, he said, I'm not doing that.
R.I.P. Trader Joe.
Oh.
He died recently.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Joe,
we
love you. I love you personally.
We love you. We don't care for your small parking lots.
But yeah, so this was like a really booming business, and it was really needed, and it made a lot of money in that time. Of course. So Herman's brother, August, he had a reputation for being like one of the best Christmas tree merchants out there. He was actually nicknamed Christmas Tree Schooneman.
Love it.
Just because he was just so good at it. In November of 1898, August was in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, aboard a ship called the S. He loaded 3,500 trees onto his ship with a crew of 3.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's literally like 4 guys on the ship in total.
Oh my God.
Which is not enough for 3,500 Christmas trees.
Can you imagine how buff they all had to be?
Buff?
Like real like lumberjack ass people.
And probably took a long fucking time to do. Unfortunately, they never made it back to Chicago due to a storm off the coast of Glencoe, Illinois, and the ship crashed and there were no survivors.
Dang. Well, there's only 3 of them.
I know. Insane.
So I could imagine trying to navigate a big old ship filled to the brim with trees. And you're going through a storm. Like, oh my God.
The only reason that Herman hadn't been on that voyage with his brother that year was because he and his wife had just welcomed their twin daughters, Hazel and Pearl, into the world.
But think of how just
devastating
if he would have been on there and his wife just had twins.
I know. Also, like, petition to bring back names like Hazel and Pearl.
Those are both really cute girl names.
So cute. And their other daughter's name was Elsie.
Love that.
And I just feel like that's adorable. And we need to bring names like that back.
I feel like that is coming back a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But I need it more.
Yeah. No, I agree. I love names like that. I think we've done enough. We've done enough. With some of these other names. Enough. I think we've done enough with some of these other names. It's time to get back to basics.
Blanket. We're done.
We're done. Let's get back to basics. Okay. We have enough different ways to spell Kaylee, okay?
We do.
We figured it out.
So real.
We covered that for you. Us millennials, we covered that for you guys. So if you have a baby, feel free. Go Ethel. Go Margot.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Let's get freaky with it.
No, I do like this.
But in like a throwback way.
I do like this, yeah. So even though his brother's untimely death absolutely crushed him, Herman still had a job to do. And he also wanted to continue, doing this business in his brother's honor because this was a passion of theirs since they were young.
Yeah.
And Herman was actually a really, really good man. So one thing that he was really passionate...
That's what I've heard about Herman's.
I knew you were going to say that. So one thing that he was really, really passionate about was making sure that the less fortunate families were able to afford a Christmas tree every year.
Okay, that's cute.
I know. Because a lot of people in this area, in the Chicago area, they couldn't afford presents for their kids. So at least having a Christmas tree would make the holidays just feel that much more special to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like I said earlier, he purchases an eighth of the Rouse Simmons in 1910 with those other 2 guys. And in order to get the trees to be cheap enough for every person to afford one, Herman decides to cut out the middleman and the wholesalers altogether.
Oh, see, that's smart.
Yeah. And he's
I'm
like...
sure the wholesalers or the middlemen hated that. But
absolutely. They always do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he decides to sell the trees directly from his ship on the dock under the Clark Street Bridge in Chicago.
He's giving Costco CEO vibes.
Kinda, yeah.
Like, nope. If you make that hot dog any more expensive, I will kill you.
Yeah. Good.
Good.
Those are the CEOs that we like, people. So he named his business the Northern Michigan Evergreen Nursery. This is really cute too. So while he was selling the trees on the dock to people, his 3 daughters and his wife were sitting in the cabin inside the ship, making wreaths and garland to give out to the families as well. I know.
That's so cute.
I know. It makes me want to cry. It's so
That's
cute.
just, I don't know. It's just so wholesome.
I know.
You love to hear that.
You do.
There's just so many shitty dudes, like especially when we talk about like stories like these,
Mhm.
it's like there's just so many shitty people. It's like so sweet to see like he's loved his family so much.
He loved his family and he loved to take care of other people.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
sweet.
So on the ship, like when you would go to buy your Christmas tree, he had Christmas lights, he had signs hanging everywhere. He like really wanted to give people this enjoyable experience when they were picking out their tree, which by the way, his prices were like leaps and bounds cheaper than everywhere else.
Yeah,
you
of
could
course, because he already did the work. So all
Yeah.
it needs to do is recoup and make some money.
Yeah.
Once again, taking out the middleman because nobody's paying him besides you guys.
And not only were his prices the absolute cheapest, but because he wanted everyone to be able to have something up in their homes, like for Christmas, he would also just like give trees away to families that literally could not afford it. He would be like, I know that you can't even afford this. So like he would just give them to them.
Yeah, I think that that's fine.
Just so sweet. And because of his kindness and generosity, and this was known all over Chicago, like everyone kind of knew about him at this point, the newspapers would write about him and give him the nickname Captain Santa. I know. It's just so cute.
I just love Christmas so much.
I know.
Because that's what it's all about.
That
right?
is what it's all about. Literally.
Like the spirit of giving and like being like, it doesn't even matter if you have presents, you have whatever. Like I'm trying to save money this year, so I'm not really doing presents with anyone, which I could think is like it's hard because it's like the first time I've really done that.
Same.
But like it's for the best. But you realize, that doesn't even matter. And actually, like not thinking about that has taken a lot of stress off of me, financial stress off of me, and like I can actually just enjoy just the fact that it's Christmas and like looking at the lights and having eggnog and all that, all that cute stuff.
I don't know. It just like makes me so happy. I was crying writing this story because it just made me so emotional and so happy that like someone was just doing this. And it's just, I love it. So he also loved his nickname, Captain Santa, so much that he would cut out the newspaper clippings that mentioned him and he would put them in his wallet. And on every voyage, he would keep his wallet in his chest coat pocket so it would be near his heart. And he would always remember who he was doing these dangerous trips for.
I'm sorry. I'm love this guy. Me too. This is so sweet. What the fuck?
I know.
And I just know something bad's going to happen.
I know. It's horrible.
Like anticipating it.
God, I'm sorry. Okay, so it's November 1912. And this is the second year that Captain Santa, aka Herman, has had the Rue Simmons, and he and his crew are in Michigan loading over 5,000 pine trees onto the Rue Simmons, and they're preparing for their 300-mile voyage back to Chicago.
Yeah, because they're like up in the UP, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Which non-Americans, I guess non-Midwesterners, the UP is like this little stretch, which is a part of like very upper Michigan, but it's like very, very remote.
Yeah, that's literally where he was getting these pine trees.
Yeah.
So the ship was captained by Captain Santa, obviously, and also the other guy that owned part of the 1/8 of the ship, Captain Charles Nelson. They also had their usual crew, which was about 10 people. And then they actually, this is alleged, we're not totally sure, but allegedly they scooped up a group of lumberjacks that were looking to hitch a ride back to Chicago for Christmas.
Oh, good for them.
So in total, they say there was about 17 people on board.
Okay.
So allegedly, before they set sail, some of the crew saw that rats were dropping into the water from the pipes. And there's this old saying, like rats fleeing a sinking ship.
Yeah.
Which essentially refers to like abandoning something that's failing. Usually this is referring to companies or politics or something like that. But this saying goes back to ship and sailor superstitions that if rats and rodents are abandoning the ship, it usually is a bad omen that something is going to happen.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And apparently the rats dropping into the water before they took off did end up scaring one of the crew members who decided to not head back with the rest of the crew.
That's very you coded.
That 1000% is me. That I would be that guy.
And then I'd be like, well, great. Now I have to stay too because this
Yeah.
bitch is staying and that's my bitch.
No, I would literally be like, I'm not going. Are you fucking crazy? And then you would not go. And then the crew members would dwindle and dwindle and dwindle because then Kate would not go. And then there would be a whole thing.
It'd be a whole mutiny. It would be a whole mutiny situation. Listen, we all ride together, okay?
I'm literally like, if you guys have seen whatever that Final Destination movie, I think it's the first one where they're taking off in the plane and the pin comes out.
Oh, yeah.
That would be me. I would get off the plane. There's no way I would stay on the plane.
And then I would be that bitch who just kind of follows off because I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I got to
you got to make sure I'm okay.
My responsibility.
Yeah. Okay, so that one crew member, he's off. But everyone else remained on board and the 5,000 pine trees were secured. And on November 22nd, 1912, which I just want to throw out there, is the same year that the Titanic sunk.
Yes.
Which, in my personal opinion, I would never get on a boat that year. Like, that just seems bad already.
Yeah, bad luck.
Bad luck. But on this day, the Rouse Simmons headed back to Chicago. And I'm sure no one is surprised when I tell you that they never made it back to the harbor.
That makes me so sad. He just seemed like such a nice guy. And I'm sure everyone else is too, but
he's Captain Santa.
He's Captain Literal Santa.
Are you kidding me? On November 23rd, the day after they set sail, an attendant at the Kewanee Life-Saving Station spotted the Rouse Simmons. He reported that it was low in the water with tattered sails, flying its flag at half-mast to signal that it was in distress.
Oh, no.
So this guy, he alerts the station keeper. And then the station keeper realizes that the tugboat for their station had already left for the day. So he's like, shit, what are we going to do? So he runs inside. He telephones the Two Rivers station, which was like the closest one nearby. And they send out a powerboat on a rescue mission, like immediately. But it still was like quite a little bit of time just because they had to go through all those steps.
Whenever I think about like we have such easy access to communication. Whenever I think about like disasters and stuff like pre that, it's just like, it's so humbling.
Yeah. Way back then, they had to send out like mail in order to find out that someone was in distress on the sea.
Well, that's how Pearl Harbor happened.
Yeah.
And by Pearl Harbor, I don't mean the attack on Pearl Harbor. I mean the film with Josh Hartnett and and what's his name?
Ryan Gosling?
No, your favorite guy.
Who's my favorite guy?
That guy that you love, who's married to J-Lo or unmarried to J-Lo, we're not sure.
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. That's how he ended up. You know, no spoilers, but go watch Pearl Harbor. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, like the communication was so bad and confusing. Yeah. And I just, like how scary and horrible.
Yeah, it makes me sick.
Yeah.
So they send out the powerboat from the Two River Station on a rescue mission. So by the time that this rescue powerboat arrived at the coordinates, the Rouse Simmons and its crew were nowhere to be found.
Damn.
In December, so like a month later, or not even a month later, like a couple weeks later, Christmas trees were reported washing up on shore at Pentwater, Michigan.
Okay.
And for the next few years, fishermen would end up catching trees in their nets.
That's so grim.
I know.
Yeah.
It's not great. So according to the researcher Lori Jacobson Tews, a message in a bottle was also washed up on shore. It was corked with a tiny piece of pine tree. I know. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
And it read, Friday, everybody goodbye. I guess we are all through. During the night, the small boat washed overboard, leaking bad. Invald and Steve lost too. God help us. So clearly that message was believed to be saying their small lifeboat washed away in the storm, and then two of their men obviously fell overboard before the entire ship was eventually wrecked and sunk. In 1927, a second bottle washed ashore.
Way later.
Way later.
Whoa, okay.
And this one read, these lines are written at 10:30 p.m. Schooner HS, which was believed to be Herman Schooneman,
Okay.
ready to go down about 20 miles southeast of Two Rivers Point between 15 or 20 miles offshore. All hands latched to one line. Goodbye, Charles Nelson. And that was written by the other captain.
Because he was going to go
board.
down with his ship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know. So a few years before that happened in 1924, and this was 12 years after the Ruth Simmons vanished, a fisherman found a wallet that was tangled inside his net. It was wrapped in oilskin, so it was completely preserved.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And inside the wallet, I'm going to cry. Sorry. They found the newspaper clippings and articles that Herman had saved, calling him Captain Santa.
And they all didn't get waterlogged. That's really sweet.
And the wallet was soon returned to his family.
Can you imagine?
No, I can't. It makes me really fucking sad. Because it's like, it really is like the song, like, only the good die young.
Yeah.
Like, why? It's always the good people.
Sorry, just what a funny thing for you to say.
I'm sorry. It's just like what came into my brain.
Yeah.
Like, why is it always the good people? Can't it be the bad people?
Well, because when it's the bad people who die young, we're not as worried about it.
That's true.
We're not crying on live about it.
Do you want to know what the name of the fishing boat that found the wallet was?
Oh God, what was it?
The Reindeer.
Stop.
Yeah.
And people say that synchronicities don't exist.
That's synchronicity, my friend.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Herman's wife and daughters continued in the family Christmas tree business for many, many years. Even after his wife Barbara died, the daughters continued on in their family name. And they eventually actually owned a Christmas tree store.
Good for them. I mean, their dad was Santa.
Captain Santa. So although Captain Santa was ultimately this really, really nice family man that obviously cared a lot about people, the theories about why the ship actually sunk are really kind of at the fault of him.
Okay.
So apparently he had owed money for back pay on an old debt that he failed to pay like years before he acquired the Ruth Simmons. And he needed to cut costs that year in 1912 to make these payments. So during his first voyage in 1911, Herman had the ship recalked to make sure that there wasn't like leakage of any kind, because obviously this is a wooden boat. But because he had to cut costs, he didn't have the ship recalked before the 1912 voyage.
Got it. Okay.
So this mixed with the weight of the over 5,000 trees is believed to kind of be the result in why the ship sank the way it did and why it didn't make it through the storm.
Yeah.
Even though this storm was said to be like one of the worst storms that Lake Michigan had seen.
Well, yeah. And the people who only had 3,500 trees or whatever still sunk a couple years before.
No,
so.
Absolutely. I mean, like, it is the early 1900s and this is a wooden boat. So if there's a bad storm, it probably is not going to be great.
Bro, the Titanic was quote unquote unsinkable and it took an iceberg to take it down.
Literally.
Allegedly,
in our opinion.
But that just goes to show you, like, because he was spending his money or like not making as much money because he was like trying to be
a good guy.
Altruistic. Like, it just goes to show you that, like, once again, like, capitalism is the thing that ruins everything good.
Mm-hmm.
Because why was nobody being like, hey man, you do so much good for our community, like, we'll give you a good discount? Because like that's just not what people do, because they are still stuck in the mindset of I have to make as much money as I possibly can all the time.
Right.
It's like this guy was like the prime example of someone that you should just like help out.
Yeah.
Or like just give a discount to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was literally just like, he saw these families in need and families that couldn't afford presents for their kids, and he just wanted to give them some sort of like
to at least have a tree.
Happiness.
Yeah. And you would think like as a community, you'd be like, oh, this is someone we should like rally around and help out as much as we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So our story is not quite finished just yet.
Okay.
In October of 1971, a scuba diver named Gordon Bell Richard was out on Lake Michigan, and he was in search of a sunken ship called the Vernon. And this was like a very large steamer that sunk in October of 1887 that had one survivor.
Okay.
So he dove into the water with a dive light and a sonar. Is that what it's called? A sonar?
Mm-hmm.
To search for this wreckage, because like that was just, he was very into it. And he was like, I want to find this ship. But by the time he had reached a sunken shipwreck, his dive light malfunctioned, turned off.
Oh my God.
Leaving him completely blind in the darkness of the water.
Oh my God. What a nightmare.
Literally makes me sick.
Yeah.
To my stomach.
I'm so afraid of the dark, and being underwater in the dark alone, 10 times worse.
The ocean or the lake?
I was gonna say it's not the
whatever.
ocean.
The Lake Michigan. First of all, we already know that Lake Michigan is haunted, right? Like we've heard stories. Like Lake Michigan is scary.
She keeps her dead.
Yeah. And just, I mean, the water in general is scary, and the darkness, I can't even imagine. So this guy, he's literally blind. He can't see shit. He's in the deep depths of Lake Michigan. And even though he couldn't see anything, he starts to feel the ship's hull.
That's somehow so much worse.
So much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he soon realizes, I have no fucking idea. I can't tell you how this man was able to figure this out. But just by touching, he knew that it was not the Vernon that he was feeling.
Well, he was looking for a steamship. That's clearly not a steamship. Yeah.
So he ends up figuring out that he had just discovered the very mysterious Ruth Simmons, because no one had seen it since it disappeared in 1912.
Okay.
So obviously, since he had discovered this, many more people, divers, professionals, have gone down there to check out the ship. There are still pine trees on board the Ruth
it's
Simmons.
So cold down there.
Yes. So a lot of them that were kind of like underneath in the cabins and stuff are still very well preserved. They still even have the pine needles attached to them that are in perfect condition.
Because it's so cold down there, they always say that Lake Michigan doesn't give up its dead.
Crazy.
Because the people are oftentimes well preserved as well.
Yeah. Crazy and sick, in my opinion.
Because it's just so cold down there.
But not a single body from any of the crew members or people were ever found.
Okay.
Which is kind of weird, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially since like they literally found preserved pine trees.
Yeah.
But not a single body.
Well, yeah. Like, and they said that he was going to go down with the ship and everything. But, things happen.
I mean, people float away, but isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That's very crazy.
So to remember the Ruth Simmons and Captain Santa, local divers place an evergreen tree on the bow of the ship each fall to honor the legacy of the Christmas tree ship. I'm going to show you a picture.
Please. Wow, it is really well preserved.
It's so well preserved. And that is one of the pine trees that they place every single fall in honor.
These pictures will be on YouTube, obviously, and then also on Instagram.
And before this man found the ship, by the way, this was known as like a legend. Like people were like, maybe this didn't exist.
Didn't even happen.
Because they didn't find it.
Yeah. But not only did they find it, it had the trees still inside of it. Wow.
That picture makes me nauseous, but it's crazy.
It is very crazy. It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. Also, let me show you Captain Santa really quick.
I would love to see Captain Santa.
So these are 3 of the crew members.
That is a sick ass photo.
The guy in the middle is Captain Santa.
Of course.
Yeah. I feel like he's like really handsome. He's cute. He's got a big mustache.
They all are super handsome.
Yeah. He looks like a happy, jolly guy too. Like, I don't know, something about his facial features.
He looks like someone who would play Santa like at your like local thing. You know what I mean?
There's something about his face that I'm like, he just looks like a genuine guy. I don't know what it is.
Same with the guy on the left. Oh, honestly, all of them.
Yeah.
What a great photo. Wow.
It is a good photo.
What a sad
I
story.
know. I'm sorry.
But I'm glad that his family like continued on the.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 13 days after the Christmas tree ship sank and was no longer seen, the Milwaukee Sentinel reported that Captain William Baxter of the Kearsarge, he heard the sound of a vessel sounding its bell from the exact area that the Ruth Simmons was last seen. But no other ship was out on the ocean or on the lake. I keep saying ocean. It's a lake.
It's a very big lake.
It is a very big lake, yeah. And the sound of phantom bells ringing in this area are often still heard by sailors today.
Okay, there we go. Now we're talking.
It is also said that on Christmas Eve or very early on Christmas morning, right before dusk, you can catch a glimpse of an old wooden schooner sailing out on the cold waters of Lake Michigan.
Oh, that makes me happy.
And some say that you might even see a lantern glowing with a silhouette of a man holding it. So we got a little bit of a ghost ship here, people.
You love to hear it.
You do love to hear it. Sailors have also said that they have seen what they call a floating forest in the distance because the Ruth Simmons had over 5,000 trees on it. So it literally looked like a forest floating in the water, which honestly must have been really fucking cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
But typically the ship comes as a omen that bad weather is approaching. So if you see this,
as like a warning,
you should turn around.
Yeah. Go back to shore.
Yeah.
Deal with this later.
Herman's wife, Barbara, she was buried in 1933 in Acadia Park Cemetery in Illinois. And she's buried, obviously, Herman's body was never found, but her headstone where she was buried, it says Herman and Barbara Schuneman. And in between their names, there's a little pine tree. Sorry, so cute. I know. Okay. Visitors to the cemetery say that when they pass by this headstone, there's a very intense scent of pine in the air.
I love that so much.
I know.
That's so cute.
It's so cute. So perhaps the ghost of Captain Santa and the Christmas tree ship still live on today. And that is my story.
Wow, that was really sad, but also really cute. And also I just love, pine is the best smell in the world.
Pine is such a great smell.
Yeah.
This is also in a museum. This is a obviously not well preserved pine tree that was found on the ship.
Oh, that they brought up.
And they decorated it, and it is behind glass in a museum today.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking that's like such a good idea.
This is a picture of Elsie Schuneman
and her wreath
that she makes because she owned a Christmas tree store. And this is
the ship?
The ship with trees on it and decorated.
Okay. I love this guy.
Right?
I don't know what I believe happens after death, but I hope whatever it is was really good for him.
I heard this story and I was like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's really fucking sad.
It is. Yeah, it's really sad.
Also, it just like gives a little bit of like holiday spirit. Like he just really
he was
the
trying
Christmas
to do
spirit.
like really nice stuff. And I just think that that's awesome. And that's exactly what it's supposed to be about. Like this is a time of giving.
Yeah.
And it's a time it's like, it shouldn't be a time of excess. I think a lot of people feel like it should be. And you know what? Maybe the Grinch was onto something.
I love the Grinch.
I've watched every version of the Grinch already.
I love that
at least 3 times. I've watched the Jim Carrey version. I've watched the new one. I've watched the old one.
The amount of Grinch TikToks I watch, like of the character at Universal.
Yes.
I love him.
Did you see that lady who got proposed to?
Yes.
The Grinch? Love it. Love him.
Like I love him.
What he's about. Don't know if I can ever return to Universal legally, but
literally was thinking that while I was watching it. I was like, would love to meet the Grinch. Don't know if I'm allowed back at Universal.
Legally, don't know if I'm allowed to go back. We'll figure that out because I sent them an email and they did not respond very in the way that you would hope.
You know who would accept us? The Grinch. Yeah.
The Grinch would have been on my side.
Just bring him an onion.
Yeah, I got so many. We walked into your house today and you said, why is there like onions in here?
The Grinch would have loved this.
The Grinch would have loved that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about we round this out with a listener story from a cool kid, Michelle.
Yes. Hi, Michelle.
So Michelle said, "Hey, ladies, I've been meaning to share this story with y'all for a while. It's not as crazy as the Princess Novi story you just told.
Oh, that was a good one.
It's just one of those things where there are too many coincidences.
Okay.
My mom has a best friend. I'm going to go with Maria? There's a Y involved. I don't know. Who she has one of those really close bonds with that you find only a few times in a lifetime. My mom is your average mom who works as an accountant, while Maria is a free spirit and a practicing Wiccan.
Ooh.
She does things like having a house blessing to cleanse the spirits when she moves into a new house, and there have been a series of weird things that have happened between them. First of all, my grandmother, my mom's mom, and Maria's mother both died on January 31st, 2012.
Oh.
They lived in different states, had never met each other, and it was just a really odd coincidence. 2 months later, on March 31st, Maria and my mom got together at Maria's house just to have a drink and honor the anniversary of their mother's death. They had to wait 2 months because there isn't a 31st in February. Oh, yeah.
I forget about that sometimes.
While my mom was at Maria's house, she said to look at her phone, and it said that she had exactly 31 missed calls from my dad. She was
31?
31,
the
31.
31st?
Yeah. She, of course, was very concerned, especially because my father is not one of those people that ever uses his cell phone. Most of the time, he can't even find it. Sounds like your dad.
I was just going to say my dad.
After she called back and got no answer, she decided to drive home and check on him. When she got home, he was out walking the dog and said that his cell phone had been charging on the counter for the past few hours. He never touched it.
No.
We never figured out what happened, but we always like to think that maybe my grandmother was sending some sort of sign that she needed to go home and make sure that she was with my dad that night. Part 2 of the story is that my mom was adopted in a closed adoption, and in a crazy turn of events, several years later, she found her biological half-sister, Linda, on Ancestry.com. It turns out that Linda and their family live on an island in Michigan.
Michigan.
The same island where Maria's family runs a well-known bed and breakfast.
What the fuck?
A lot is happening right now.
Okay.
To bring this all together, on the night my grandmother died, the hospital said that she had one visitor named Linda. We never figured out who it was or if it was just an admin error at the hospital. So maybe all of these are coincidences, but maybe not.
My eyes just swelled up.
That's so weird.
Wait, what the fuck? Like, what the actual fuck?
That's so weird.
That's weird. And they never talked to Linda and was like, did you visit?
I'm assuming if they did ask her, she said no, or else that would have been part of it.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Super crazy. Michelle, that's super crazy. Also, thank you for sharing that.
Wow.
Thank you for being a cool kid. Whoa. That's really weird.
That is really weird.
That's really weird. Wow. Okay. I don't even.
A lot of synchronicity happening.
Lot in between Michigan and
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. If you would like to share your story, you can do it at dtkpod.com/contact. And if you're a cool kid, share it on Patreon because we do give you a little boost in the lineup here.
That's right.
But just thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. We hope you have the most relaxing, or if you're one of those people who likes to do a lot of stuff, the most jam-packed holiday season ever. And we just totally dig you. And we hope you guys know that we are so thankful that we get to keep doing this show because of you guys, basically. What?
I'll get emotional.
Oh, Amanda's going to cry if she talks. So I will wrap this up because most of all, make sure you keep that front door locked.
Make sure you keep your mind open.
And keep drinking the Kool-Aid.